Today on the podcast, we got Mike Smith, former Michigan point guard, now point guard for the Sioux Falls Skyforce. Mike, I appreciate you coming on, man.
No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Have you been watching Michigan at all?
Yeah, I've been watching, sad about last night, but, I think obviously it wasn't the outcome that I wanted or anybody that our Michigan fans wanted, but, it's better now than later for sure. It's a young team, so, you'll learn from it. And Coach Howard has done a great job of implementing, when we lose that we're going to stay together and we're going to fight through this and we're going to come out better than what we did during that game.
Oh, for sure. I think everyone's got trust in them and Coach Howard. What did you see in the game, offense, defense, just overall from Michigan?
I think they played great defense. Seton Hall hit some tough shots at the end. We had a couple of bad calls, but, we can't blame the refs. We got to play through it. And I think we should have gave Hunter a little more touches at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But, Eli was the hot hand at the time, so Coach ran with it. So you have to live with that. And Eli is a fifth year. He's been there forever. He's going to go down in the history of playing the most games in Michigan. So I'm not opposed to that either. But I think we should have gave the ball to Hunter a little more. Ran a couple plays for him down the stretch. But it happens and we learn from it. So
yeah, you know all about adjusting to a new team, and especially like last year with all the new guys and all that talent. This is going to take time for them. Like everyone's trying to predict like an undefeated start like you guys had, and like it's not gonna be the same thing. It's just gonna be a process, and you know all about that. So like what have you talked to Devontae Jones at all about that point guard spot and coming into a new role from a grad transfer position?
Yeah, at the beginning when he first transferred there, I reached out to him and he reached out to me. He wanted to talk to me about what it's going to be like, and I was like, look, like you're gonna have to go in there, you got to run the team, and it's different for him than it was for me because I had a lot more older core.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because it was a lot of older people that's been there and played there, and now he has to take a bigger role than I think that I had to do because he has a younger core of guys besides Eli and Brandon Johns, Adrian, and Hunter and T. Will. Those guys had experience from playing from last year, and now you have Caleb, Musa, Frankie, Kobe, and all these guys that's coming in that's new to the culture and what it's going to be like, because the Big Ten is no joke.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to tell you I was the smallest guy out there. It was physical every day, but it was just that and practice. Coach, the practice is basically a game. Coach doesn't let you get away with anything. You have to go in there and you have to fight for your spot and for for your team and for the university as a whole. But yeah, I've talked to him about it, and I think he's doing a great job. Obviously, people are going to talk about, oh, this and that. It's his fault. No, it's not. He played a great game. He did what he was supposed to do. And, he's going to learn from it, and he's going to do a great job in this game. And, it's not the end of the world that we lost one game. So, he's going to learn from it. He's going to bring everybody up. And I could tell he's type of player.
Yeah, and all too well going through college basketball, everyone wants to break down every single game like it's life or death.
Right.
And it was funny going into last year, people were talking about you like, is he going to shoot too much? Is he going to be able to adjust and blah, blah, blah. And like, yeah, you just adjust and like, fit in where you can fit in. And it's funny, they were saying at the beginning of the year and the end of the year, we were like, Mike, shoot the ball, like give Mike the ball, like put it in his hand. So like, it's a whole roller coaster of a year, but can you talk on that, going from the beginning, take me through some of the struggles at the beginning, kind of trying to adjust and maybe adjust your game or your personality or what have you.
Yeah, it was tough. I think as everybody's seen that I sacrificed a lot for like personally, like how I can score the ball. I had to sacrifice for the team because the team didn't need me to go out there and score 20 points a game or even 15 points. They just needed me to facilitate and get people in their places, hit shots and play defense. And I think that was what the team needed. So I wanted to do what the team needed. It wasn't about me. It was about us winning. And obviously we won. We didn't win at all. We didn't get as far as we wanted to, but I still can look back and say, look, like we won a Big Ten championship, and that's not easy to do, especially last year with how good the Big Ten was. We had like 8 teams out of the 13 teams that's in the Big Ten ranked the whole year. So it was like, that's tough. And that's a compliment. Obviously I wanted to win it all, but we came up short. But it was just an adjustment that I had to make, and I had to look myself in the mirror. It was like, look, is this about you or is it about the team? And is it about this school? And I was like, well, I have to sacrifice it. And, you know, I mean, at the end of the year, Coach Howard brought me in his office. Was like, Mike, thank you for sacrificing for the team, because we know you can score. We know you can do those things, but you put the team first. And that's hard to find in somebody, especially when you're coming off of 22 points or 23 points a year and 5 assists and 5 rebounds. And you're like, man, like I could do this in the Big Ten if I really wanted to, but that's not what the team needed. And,
right.
you know, I mean, I think we had a successful season. Just not successful enough, but you know what I mean, you gotta take what you can give. So
yeah, no, it can be a very lonely position to be in, you know, even if like everybody on the roster is going through the same thing. Like it's still lonely to have your own experience and being like, I can do more, I should be doing more, yada yada. Who did you turn to in those moments to kind of help you get through it throughout the year?
I think it was Coach Howard. I would talk to him about it. We'd talk about it each and every day. And he would just be on me about like, Mike, like you have a better core of people around you, so you don't have to do everything. Because he's seen how competitive I am. When we first started practice, and he was like, Mike, look, like you have better players, like you have NBA guys, which I can look back and say I actually do now, because there are three of the 4 of us that left, or all 4 of us are professional basketball players right now, and you know what I mean, the other 3 are NBA guys right now, and I'm fighting to get there. But he would say that, and you know, I look around like, man, like I actually do have a 7-footer that can get the ball down in the post, and I can move out of the way and just spot up, and if he passes to me, I can shoot it. Or I have Shandi come off the bench and help score the ball, or Isaiah, who's a knockdown shooter and a bucket getter. Franz, Eli, like the list goes on and on. Brandon, like the list goes on and on. So I had to actually think about that and like look like, man, like these guys can actually play. Like I don't have to try to score every time. So it was a adjustment that I had to make. But Coach stuck with me and stayed on top of me, just saying like, look, like you have other guys around you that can actually help you. You don't have to do this alone.
Were those like in the initial conversations you had with him when you were deciding where you were going to go after Columbia?
Yes and no. He was more of like, he was saying like, I can come in and make an impact. He didn't say what kind of impact, but he said I can come in and make an impact. And he also said that he didn't promise me to start. And I love that about him, because that as a competitor, you don't want anything given to you. You want to fight for everything, because if something's given to you, you don't have the same respect for it. If it was given to you, you was like, if something was given to you, like, oh man, it was a gift. And now you hear that, like, oh man, it was a gift. I don't care about it. But if you fight for that and you earn what you get, you be like, oh man, no, I fought for that. I'm not gonna give that up. You know what I mean? So it's something about that. And when that was his recruiting pitch for me, and I was like, man, like he was honest and he was for real, and he's from Chicago, so like I knew like he was serious. Like he wasn't just talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was a part of his thing, his recruiting pitch of like, you can come in and make an impact. He didn't say what kind of impact, but he said I can come in and make an impact.
What was it about Michigan? Like what did it come down to for you to pick Michigan? And were there other opportunities that, you know, you could have had that same kind of challenge?
It was like I said, it was him calling me right away. A lot of coaches, you know what I mean, I was 22. And a lot of coaches would call me, but it was a lot of assistant coaches. And I know how the game works. The assistant coach calls you and like they try to fight for you, and then
you can't do that to a 22-year-old.
You know, like I know the game. So like a lot of schools with assistant coach, but he called me right away. It wasn't an assistant coach. It was like, hey Mike, this is Juwan Howard. And I was like, oh man, like, what's up, coach? Like, how you doing? And he was just talking to me. He was like, look, like we're recruiting you and Bryce Aiken, the kid that was on Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And I knew him because he was from Harvard at the time. We both were grad transfers, and I knew him. And he was like, yeah, like you're the only 2 point guards we're recruiting. So boom, like let me get to know you. Like let's get to know each other. And he was like, I'm from Chicago, da da da. And then I started doing my research, and I was like, man, like Michigan is a big time school. You know what I mean? Alumni, even just basketball, but alumni outside of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, like
Crazy.
I have Columbia and I have Michigan alumni. Like even if I don't get a degree from Michigan, like I planned on it, but you know what I mean, the way things work with COVID, I would have to take the GRE, and I have to do I have like a week to study for it, and it was too much that I wanted to do business for sure.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. So that was a part. I was close to home. It's 3.5 hours from home. I could drive. My parents could come to the game. Nice. I was assuming that COVID wasn't going to be like that, but they still got to come to the games and things like that. I was close to home, so I can go home if I needed to. They can get there if they needed to. The school, obviously, and then just the team that they had coming back. I was like, oh, we can do something really special. And then he started recruiting Shondi, and I was like, oh man, we have a chance to actually do something really, really special.
Yeah.
So that's basically what it boiled down to. And I
Yeah.
wanted to prove to myself and to everybody that, and everybody in the world that undersized guards, quote unquote, can do it at the next level. At a big school, at a Power 5 school, and mid-major guards should have some respect put to their names, because if I can do it, then I know the next person can do it. And as we see Devontae doing it, he's doing a perfect job of doing it. It's only been 3 games, and I think he's going to do a great job moving forward. So I just giving hope to everybody else.
For sure. It's the same story over and over. Like, oh, he's undersized. You know, you come out, you're under recruited. You know, what keyed you in on the Ivy League? And like, take me through your recruitment. I've talked about it on here before, and like, I don't wish my recruitment on my worst enemy. Like, it was so stressful. It was painful, right? Like dealing with adults, not getting calls back. Like it was tough. And for you to get under recruited like that, you know, take me through some of that process.
Yeah, so I think my sophomore junior year, I think my first offer was Loyola Chicago, and it was funny because that summer that they offered me, I almost quit basketball, and nobody really knows this, but like I had one of the worst summers ever. Like AAU, like I just wasn't myself. My confidence wasn't there. I played bad, and I remember the last play of my AAU summer was with Mean Streets, and it was a game to go to the Peace Jam Finals. My 16U, and I turned the ball over, and I was like, man, could this not get any worse? Like this whole summer just been so bad. Like I don't even want to play basketball no more. And then I stuck with it, obviously. And then Loyola Chicago offered me, and I was like, man, like this is crazy. Like they offered me after this terrible season I just had. Man, like, well, look, it's time to keep going to work.
Yeah.
Like, to get back in the gym. And then that next year, I played on Adidas Gauntlet, and I played really well. And then I started getting recruited like mid majors, not really high majors. And then I took the ACT, and I got a 30 on my ACT. And next thing you know, all these Ivy League schools started calling. And Columbia called, Yale called, Dartmouth called, and I went to visit Dartmouth and Columbia. And after that visit, my parents was like, they sat down with me, and it was the beginning of going into my senior year. They sat down and was like, Michael, like, you have a chance to do something special that not a lot of kids get to do, and that's go to an Ivy League school. I'm not telling you where to go, which they basically trying to help tell me where to go. It was like, you can make your own decision, go wherever you want. But like you should consider these schools. And I was like, okay, I'll consider them. So then I started playing my senior year, and then I started taking off my senior year. I go crazy. Like I scored 38 versus Simeon. Like I'm going like I'm second in Mr. Illinois in basketball voting. Like all these big schools are starting to call, Vanderbilt, Alabama, like all these big schools. So I'm like, man, like I can't do it because they didn't call me off rip. So like I kind of feel like disrespected. Like you didn't think I had this in me before. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
You didn't get your first or second or third guy. So you come to me, and then you're gonna recruit over me. No, we're not gonna do that. So I ended up coming into Columbia, and I talked to the coach. It was Coach Smith at the time, who's at, I think, Washington State. He ended up leaving during spring break, and I didn't even know. He didn't even tell me. And I had to find out from my best friend's sister. She was like, Mike, do you know your coach left from Columbia? I was like, man, stop lying. You're playing. Like, we were on Marco Island. I can tell you he was on the beach. And she was like, your coach leaving Columbia to go to USF. And I was like, man, he lied to me. He told me he wasn't going to leave, only if it was Duke, blah, 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 this, that. And then they end up hiring Jim Ingles, and Coach Ingles flew out to my house 3 days after he got hired. So I was like, oh, it's like I'm a priority. Like, okay, I'm staying. I like the guys, and I like the school. So I was like, man, like I can. I like the coach. He was a good coach. He came from NJIT. They won a lot. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna do it. And I ended up going there, play there for 4 years. Third year, tore my meniscus. Ended up getting a medical redshirt year, and that's kind of how I ended up. End up being there at Michigan. So I had a great career there. I had fun. I made a lot of connections, made a lot of friends, got a degree from there. So did internships. So that's kind of how the recruitment went. But I would never say I would change anything from it, and wish that I got something different, because I made a path for myself that not a lot of people went through, and
Right.
I'm grateful for it.
Right. No, that's wild. I mean, that's hard for I'm surprised you turned down like those big schools because that's tough.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just waiting and waiting and waiting on Michigan. I was like, I know all these 5, 6, 7 dudes are gonna pass up the spot. I was waiting for that spotlight. And like
right.
look back and think like, what if I went to another school? I went to a smaller school and like hone my skills and stuff. But that's cool that you're like, nah, I'm gonna pay my own way, do
Wait,
my own
yeah,
thing. And that is
yeah,
not easy to do because you see it all
no,
the time.
yeah.
Like kids transferring, trying to go to a big school and like, oh, okay, I don't fit in. And then they're just leaving because they're gonna get recruited over and
Yeah.
whatnot. So
And that's one thing I've always stuck with is that I'm gonna just fight through it and I'm gonna get better. And with whatever cards I'm dealt, I'm gonna play with them. You know what I mean? And try to win with the best hand that I can. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm not gonna fold the hand. So
yeah. This lines up because I was about to ask you about um overseas offers and why you didn't take overseas besides in lieu of going to the G League. And it makes sense. You're like, no, I want to be in the NBA. Is that right?
right. Yeah, I had a couple overseas offers, but I felt like this is the closest to being to the NBA. Obviously, you can get called over from overseas, but I just think like, you know, what I mean, it's hard to say this, and a lot of people are going to be mad, but like, money isn't everything to me, and
Sure.
money shouldn't be everything because at the end of the day, you have a different life over there. You know what I mean? I'm used to it. I mean, I'm blessed and thankful enough to be able to go over there every summer. But like, I'd rather be here and be affiliate of an NBA team. You do like people don't understand like you're an affiliate to an NBA team. So that means that the NBA team watches you more than they do overseas. You know what
Right.
I mean? Because these 6 hours different too. Like nobody's gonna wake up unless you over there scoring 40 points a game. Nobody's gonna
No.
wake up at
Yeah.
6 a.m. to watch your game at 12. People are sleeping.
Yep.
So like if you play here and you get to learn the system and you learn the culture, which Miami, I mean, I'm blessed to be in the Miami Heat culture because of Juwan Howard too. Like I have
Yeah.
everything that I already need to know. But you know what I mean, part of that. So I would rather be here and give it a year, 2, 3 years, and hopefully get called up a two-way or something to get called up and be a part of that organization. Or just be a blessing. And you know what I mean, I'm fortunate enough to actually be part of this team because they actually call people up from this team. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
to actually play in Miami. Like if you look at the thing, you had Duncan, you had Derrick Jones Jr., you had Gabe Vincent, and the list
Wow.
goes on. I didn't look at more, but that was like most recent, and all three of them are on the team.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a chance. So why not stick with it and fight through it and play versus other NBA guys and two-way guys and show that you can compete and that you can play with it. You can play in the NBA.
No, it's a hell of an organization. They value talent for talent. And there's politics and everything, but it seems like, yeah, if you do what you got to do or need to do,
Do
like you'll get
you
called
get
up.
called up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were some of the teams or countries you were looking at for overseas though?
I think it was Turkey, and I think it was another team in I don't want to be wrong, but like France, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Good.
those are a couple of teams, so it's not a bad league at all.
No,
Like
those
it
are really
wasn't
good
like
leagues.
really good leagues, but you know what I mean. I just don't. I'm not ready for that to give up on the dream of staying here and getting called up.
Sure. No,
You
that
know what I
makes
mean. It's a
sense. And
dream.
everything's a process. Like you learn as you go. I mean, I played 9 years overseas, just retired, and like in year 9, where I'm thinking like, all right, this is just gonna be like send off, and it's like, no, you're still learning every single day. So and like you're
Right.
adjusting your dreams and your goals and what you like and what you don't like, and like that'll change from 22 to 30. Like it's crazy. So it's cool to see you do that. How is camp going right now?
Camp's over, but like we've been playing. I think we played 4 games. We're 1-3. We're a young team. We do have a vet, Brandon Knight. So like I'm get to learn from him, and obviously that's a blessing because he still is a phenomenal player, and he learned, and I get to learn from him. I was fortunate enough to just to work out all summer with him in Miami. I worked out a train in Miami, and we had the same trainer in Remy workouts. So you know what I mean, get to do all that stuff in the summer and then have him as a teammate, and you know what I mean, he starts and I come off the bench. So like I learned how to come off the bench. That's something new that I've been trying to get used
Yeah,
to because it's hard. You know what I mean?
it
You start
is.
all your life and then you come off the bench. It's just like your rhythm and timing. So it's so much to learn. But you know, I mean, I'm learning so much and I've been getting better at it and I've been playing and I've been talking more. So like I've been learning a lot. And the coach has been on me like, Mike, like you basically run the team, even though you may not play a lot, but they go as you go, and your energy and your effort on defense is phenomenal. So like, it's fun, and it's funny that we talk about this. But we just played Nick Stauskas We just played him. We lost the first game and we won the second game, and I was just out there guarding him and talking to him. It was a good time to see another, Michigan guy out here playing to fight for their dreams. You know what I mean? And he's a good guy.
No, he's another one who, he's sticking to it. He's like, I'm an NBA player. I'm sticking with it. I am gonna make it no matter what.
Right, and he's been there, so he has that taste of like, I've been there, so like I want to get back there. You know what I mean? And he can play, flat out play. So I mean, it's a team out there. It's a roster spot for him for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. I thought it was still camp. I looked up the schedule and I was like, oh, November 27th is the next game. I'm like, what the hell is going on? G League stats, like they're not updated. So take me through, like, how's it been playing and like adjusting? I'm mostly curious, like, do you feel like you're getting back to like your Columbia ways, or you're still, now it's like NBA where you're like, I got that taste of Michigan where it's like, I'm going to be around talent and kind of having that mentality again?
It's a mix of both, but it's more so Columbia in a way, because like now I can be more aggressive in a way, because at the end of the day, if I get an NBA, I'm gonna have to score the ball if I'm gonna get in the game, because like because everybody's tall, so everybody's gonna be able to pass the ball. Yeah. Everybody's gonna play defense. So like even if I'm the best defender in the world, I'm still 5'10", 5'11". So like I'm not gonna stop Kevin Durant. Like let's just get this straight. Nobody's gonna stop Kevin Durant. But like I'm not even gonna get close to even contesting the shot. So like what's the difference? So I'm gonna have to score. So like now I'm starting to get acclimated of trying to get back to my old ways of scoring the ball and facilitating and playing better defense. And I think I've done a phenomenal job of playing defense, I think personally, because at Columbia I didn't play defense. We should be honest. All my usage was 99% of my usage was all offense.
Right.
And now like I was just like, I'm not playing defense. And I played 40 minutes. So I was like, I'm not playing defense all the time. Like I just can't. Like I can't. You have me running all these plays and then play defense. Then I go to Michigan and it's like, man, I have talent. So now I actually have to play defense. And Juwan was on me like, Mike, you have to play defense. Like there's no way around it. You got to start loving it. And now I'm starting to like actually love to play defense and get a stop and fight through screens and take charges and be there and talking, low man, nail help, stunt, dig, like all that stuff, reading the post, like don't even help me in the post. Like I'm going to take it to the chest twice and I'm going to wall him up. Even if he's bigger than me, I'm going to show that I have some fight. So it's just, it has been an adjustment for me, but it's like a mix of both. But I think more so Columbia, I have to score the ball. I have to. And I haven't been as aggressive, and I also haven't I'm a rookie. So like I'm not expecting to play 30 minutes. I'm not expecting to play 20 minutes. I'm just giving whatever time I can get my rhythm, shoot a shot, play defense, come down, run the offense, and do that. And I think I've done a good job of what the cards that I've been dealt. So I'm continuing to learn and I'm continuing to grow, and coach and coaches having confidence in me to go out there and play. So now that last game, I think I've shot 9 shots, and that's the most I've shot maybe the whole season, and scored 8 points. So, I mean, I've been shooting the ball from 3 well. So I'm really excited.
Take me through, because people don't get to see like or hear about like the G League, that whole atmosphere, and they want to see everybody. So maybe you're not going to be playing 48 minutes, but like, you got certain time. But it sounds like, there's going to be an adjustment. Now you're with the Heat organization where, they'll adjust on the fly for talent. And you took more shots than you have all season last game. So, and
I played a lot more. Yeah.
So minutes, have you been, you're kind of prepared for that? Or it's like, okay, I got my opportunities right now. Like, do they go in saying like, okay, you got 20 minutes tonight, Mike, or you got 30 minutes, or like what have you? Or it's kind of like, you're just ready for whatever.
Yeah, I'm just ready for whatever. Like they'll tell me as soon as the game starts, they tell you what time you're gonna get in. So, and that's new to me too. That I kind of like that though. So you start to get mentally ready. You get to like lock in. So they like, Mike, like you're gonna go in at 5 and get Brandon. Second quarter, Mike, you're gonna go. Mike, the last game I started the second. Usually I'll go back on the bench, but I started. I guess I was doing a good job or something, or they wanted to switch it up and see how it goes. And then I started the second. And then I would sit out, and then they'd be like, Mike, you're going to go back in at 1 or 2, or the third quarter, you're going to start, or third, you're going to go in at 7 minutes. So, like, you get to mentally prepare yourself. And it's something new for me because I never got on the bench. So, like, you get to mentally prepare, like, what's going on in the game. What are they doing on ball screens? How are they doing it? What player is beating us? Like, how are you going to help change the game when you get in at 7 minutes? So that's kind of how it works here. I think that's how all NBA people work, but I'm not sure, though.
No, yeah, it's definitely a different world. And I see a lot of guys, come over overseas or from college, whether it's from G League or even from the NBA. And it's like, everything is different. I learned from a vet early on. He's like, whatever expectations you have, you got to kind of throw them out the window at the
Window.
beginning of the season. Like,
Beginning
you got to
season.
just
Training
be
camp.
there
Yeah.
and do whatever. And I was like, oh, okay. And every year I would like fight against it. And then every year that would come true. And I was like, damn, okay. This is how it's going to be. If you want to play and get paid to play basketball, like
Basketball.
that's what's going to be. But it sounds like,
go ahead.
It just sounds like that's your mentality.
Yeah. And that's the way you do what the team needs. And the coaches will tell you, they'll tell you like, Mike, you need to shoot the ball more. You're too good of a shooter not to shoot the ball. And you need to do this. You need to be more aggressive. And once they tell you that, then you're free. It's like you have nothing to worry about anymore. It's just like go out there and play the game of basketball, have fun, and live with the results. And they're gonna live with the results that you do because they trust you. And that's all you need from anybody is just trust and confidence. And the world's yours. You could do whatever. And it's like you get to show what all the time and all the hard work that you put in and the effort of all summer and every day that you go to practice. And I think I used to not like being a practice player, like practicing like hard and like doing all the stuff that I would do in the games. And a lot of coaches be like, oh, you practice how you play. And I used to be like, no, I practice terrible and I could go out there and score 30. Yeah. So like, what are you saying? But you know what I mean? I've changed and I've had to do that because if you don't do it in practice when you're new, then you go into the game and you go out there and shoot that three, the step back three, they're like, you don't do it in practice. So like, what's going on? And you want to do it in the game? We're not gonna do that. We're all professionals here. We're pros. Like, no, we're not gonna do that. So I've just been doing what the team needs and let me trying to be that spark off the bench and that plug and that energy guy and get everybody acclimated.
Yeah, you shot, I think if I looked it up right, your best from three at Michigan in your career. Like, take me through what you've worked on in the summer before the season started and what you're trying to add and like what kind of player you're trying to be now.
I think so. Leading up to Michigan, I shot the ball maybe like 33 to 35% from three, and then like 20% one year, my junior year because I got hurt. But I think I mean those years are a little different because I actually had to shoot the ball more. I had the ball late clocks, I had to get all the shots up. So it was different. In Michigan, I was more wide open, shooting like wide open shots. So like you'd be like, oh, he can actually shoot the ball. Like I shot 41%, I think, and that's really good in college. So I think that summer I knew that I was going to get those shots. So I had to hone in on the fundamentals of just holding your follow through, guy hand up, looking at the rim, eyes on the rim, and just bending it, like getting down in the stands and shooting the ball and doing it with confidence. And I think coach did a great job of us always practicing every day of just simple drills of shooting drills, like cone drills. Like you'd be like, oh my God, we got to do cone drills like every day. But then it's funny that we do all those drills and then we start doing NBA workouts and they do the same thing. And it's what? Yeah. Like, oh, coach wasn't just doing that to do that star drill. Like we gotta do star drill. We gotta do 3-minute threes. It's like, man, like why are we doing these little kid drills? But like the fundamentals, and Coach Howard brought this up, was like, you can't get bored with the basics. Kobe Bryant said that, and he brought that up at the beginning of the year. You can't get bored with the basics because the basics is what you really need to succeed in a basketball game. Like just holding that follow through and just actually sprinting to the spot and knocking down that shot is like essential. So like that's basic. Just the 1-2 step, the gather 1-2 into your shot is essential. You may not think about it no more like you used to, but now it's the basics. And if you get bored with it, then you won't be the same person.
No, dude, I had this very similar experience because in high school, like being guard a little harder and like running around, like Reggie was my basketball hero. So that's how I played in high school. And then I get to college and it's like, you're going to get a bunch of open threes from the corner and you're going to be sitting in the corner. And I'm like, I don't know how to shoot. I learned I didn't know how to shoot open shots. Like I was like,
right. It was different. Yeah.
And it took me like years to kind of figure out and like relax and settle down. And so, yeah, it's different because I didn't have the ball in my hand grading like you, but yeah, it's like, it's an adjustment. You got to work on little stuff that you're like, no, I can shoot it. And it's like, oh, I can't quite shoot it as well as I thought in this situation. So yeah, it is a whole process.
Yeah, because it's funny because like if you look back at it, the first 7 games before we played Penn State, I was like at like 12% 3-point, and nobody really said anything. But Martelli, Coach Phil Martelli was on me. He was like, Michael, you were way too good, because I would break all the records like for our 3-minute threes, 2+1, like all these threes in practice, but in the game I would just not make it for some reason. He was like, you're too good of a shooter to do this, and next thing you know, I went on a streak of just like not missing, or I missed like one. Like I was like 6 for 7 in like the next 2 games. Like it was just crazy. And like I just took off from there. And it was just like once I found it and once it started clicking, it was just up from there.
When did you know like you belonged when you were at Michigan? Like you're like, all right, I'm here.
The first game.
First game.
When I think I had 16 points and 8 assists. Yep. And it was versus Bowling Green. And I was like, obviously it's not like the best team, but like I can actually be myself and I can play out here and I can find people. And it was like, all right, like I belong out here. Then that Penn State game, had a couple of good assists, and I was like, oh, Big Ten is hard and it's tough, but it's not as bad as I was expecting. Like it's bad and it's physical, but it's not as bad as I thought. So I actually think that I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the first Big Ten game, you'd be like, oh man, they play Penn State. Penn State's like a really physical, guard-oriented team that's just like up and down, press you, pick you up at half court. It's like, man, like that's a lot. And we barely won, but we won. And it was like, man, and I played okay, hit a couple of shots, took them off the dribble. I was like, okay, I can do this. And then from there, it was like, there's just a confidence booster. And then from there, it was just, I can do this. And we have the team to do this.
What was the biggest difference for you going into Big Ten play, like from where you were used to? Is that kind of style where it's like slower, every possession's a little more cherished?
It's just more physical, and every possession is cherished. Like you can't turn the ball over, because every possession matters. Because the team can come back like this, or you can get blown out just like this.
Yeah.
We've seen it where we just turned up versus Wisconsin and we went on a 43 to like 2 run.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Like we couldn't miss. It was like 43 to 2. Like it was like, I was like, oh my God, like what is going on? And we come back at Wisconsin, our first game back from quarantine, and we come back and we win. So it's like every possession matters. Every little thing you do matters. And that's a detailed thing that coach talked about in practice. Like, hey, turn around, box out, check. And now I'm implemented. When they call weak, get into the guy and fight over the ball screen. And it's like all these little things matter, and it mattered at the time, and it still matters now. And I'm thankful for it, because without that, I would be so lost out here.
No, it's crazy how that changes in your brain, and then like you get out of it, and like I don't know how your team is, but like I would get overseas, and I'm like, these dudes aren't boxing out. These dudes aren't help side. Like who taught them basketball?
Who taught them basketball? Right. And it's today. Like it's funny because today was the first day we did 3-minute threes. And it was like, take baby steps. But Coach Howard was like, don't take baby steps, move to the next spot. Because he used to call it like the Danny Granger, like you just slowly move to the next spot.
That's funny.
And like, that's how they like it. But like, I'm so used to like, it was like, Mike, slow down. Like, you're moving too fast. Like, that's just what I'm used to. Like, I'm just wired that way now. Like, don't take little steps. Like move, shoot, move, shoot. Because like in the game, you're going to move, shoot. You ain't going to like slowly go there, like taking game reps.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you now in the G League, have you found your moment where you think you belong, or are you still kind of searching a little bit for it?
It was the last game. I mean, the confidence and I played a lot more. The confidence out there. I made a ridiculous hook shot over a 7-footer. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I could do this. I did like the little Aaron Brooks hook shot, and I made it. And I was like, oh, okay, all right. And then I started taking people off the dribble. I should have got an one. They didn't call it, but I started taking people off the dribble, and I hit a pull up, and I was like, okay, like I'm just in my rhythm, and coach not saying anything, like I'm making it, and it's like the teammates behind me, the fans are behind me. It's like great, like okay, like now I belong, and now I have the confidence to go out there and play a game that I know that I can play, and have no fear of messing up, or have no fear of like I don't belong. And you know what I mean, it's hard to do that, and it's hard to adjust on the fly with no expectations.
No, for sure. And that'll keep adjusting for you. But it's good that you found that early and you have that confidence and not looking over your shoulder all the time.
All the time.
That is good. Yeah. I got about 3 questions. Might go into one a little more and we'll get you out of here. First off, we got, quick hitter. Skeeps or Ricks?
It's funny because I never actually had to experience it until I went back. But I would say Skeeps though. Score keeps.
Really? You didn't go at all?
I couldn't because COVID. But I did when I went back to no, you're fine. But I went back when we seen them play Western Michigan the first football game, and that was my first time ever going to both, and I like Skeeps better. Ricks is cool, but it's not big enough. I don't think
it's a little different.
It's different. Different atmosphere. I'm just leave it at that. But it's fun though. But I think Skeeps are better.
Yeah. Okay. You guys lost in the Elite Eight game to UCLA by 2. Tough game. What was that? Take me through the feeling right after or in that locker room that you know, your whole thoughts, your feelings. Was it relief? Was it sadness? Right when you guys lost?
It was definitely sadness because I felt like I thought I was gonna hit that three.
Mhm.
Man, I still think about it now. Left, I in and out Tiger Campbell, and I went to the left, and I pulled up, and it went like hit the back of the rim, and I thought I hit it. Um, but it was just like it was sadness for sure because like I knew that we could win, even though we were down with Isaiah. Brandon John stepped up, and I wanted to win it for everybody else besides myself. Like I didn't want to win it for me. It wasn't about me, and I
Mhm.
felt like I kind of let the team down in a way because like I wasn't myself fully at the end, like mentally. Like I don't know what it was. But I didn't play. Like I know that LSU game, I was like, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? Turn the ball over. Like I was just overthinking everything. And then the Florida State game, I play well. And then I come back to UCLA and I play okay. I play subpar. And I'm the engine of the team. And I mean, I felt like I let everybody down, but at the end of the day, they all had my back and they all was like, Mike, it's not your fault. Like, don't do that. And
Yeah,
it was sad because I knew that we could win it, and I really wanted to play Gonzaga. I really did, and play
yeah,
Baylor.
yeah,
But I mean, came up short. And I let the guys to death. So I mean, it was sad, but I mean, it was nothing you could dwell on. Had a great season, and now it was it's time to decide if I want to come back or move on and get paid playing the game that I love and be a professional and have that goal and aspiration that I always had as a little kid of being a professional basketball player. So
that's what made you move on the most, was taking that next step.
taking the next, I think I was like, I don't want to be 24 in college. I want to be
Sure.
25 in college. I want to be able to play and make money. Obviously, I didn't know the NIL thing was going to happen, but
Right.
I just think like it was just time for me to go away from college basketball. Obviously, I wanted to come back and win, but I think that aspiration and that goal of just me being able to play at the next level was just too much for me not to take it.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'd be probably the exact same way. All right, last question, and we'll get you out of here. What is one thing you learned at Michigan, your time at Michigan, that still sticks with you the most right now?
Uh, Defense. If you're talking about basketball defense,
Anything.
yeah, defense. I think defense and connecting with your like life in general. I think are all the things because we had some connection and some group activities that we all enjoyed and we all enjoyed each other's company. And I think that was a big thing to help us become so close on the court and off the court.
Yeah.
And I love that group to death. Like those are my brothers for life. Like if they ever, and I'll try my best to help them. And then I think just defense, I think was a big thing for me that I struggle with. Coming from Columbia and being small and being undersized, quote unquote, and these things. So I think those are the biggest things that I took away from Michigan, and just maybe the alumni and how well the alumni love each other and we all like have each other's back no matter what. So
Yeah. No, yeah. I stay connected because I did not stay connected all that well. And I'm regretting it right now. I'm trying to make up for a little bit. But yeah, those are good answers. I appreciate that. And
yep.
man, I really appreciate you coming on. This is a really good talk. Hope maybe we can have you on again down the line. But best
Sounds
of
good.
luck, dude. And this
Appreciate that.
this was great.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Take it easy. Good luck
All
with
right.
everything.
You too. Appreciate
All
it.
right. Later.